Welcome to Unedited Movie Reviews. This is a new segment where I will review new movies that just came out, give you my brief thoughts about it, what I thought was good, what I thought was bad, whether or not you should see it, and give you my review score. If I feel like there's so much about a movie that I want to talk about that it won't fit into a shorter video, eventually I will probably do a longer video about that specific film. But this is just to quickly get my thoughts out about new movie releases. So for the first one, we're going to do The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Now, the other day I started thinking about this movie again, and something interesting came to my mind. Why do they call it the Conjuring universe? Now, yes, I get it, because it has The Conjuring, it has the Annabelle movies, it has The Nun. But when these movies are supposed to have really taken place, whether you believe that or not, I'm not making any judgments here, it just kind of sounds weird when these are real life stories. Or does everything today have to have universe at the end of it? Whether it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or the DC Universe, or the Star Wars Universe, or the Monsters Universe, even though that one never took off. It just seems strange that they added the universe to the end of this series when these are supposedly real life stories. Just something to think about. So, this newest inclusion into the franchise, I would say is probably the best and the worst of the three main Conjuring films. Now, you might think that doesn't make sense, but let me explain. When I say it's the best of the franchise, what I mean is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, I hope I'm saying that right, they're in top form with this movie. You care about these characters, you want to go on this journey with them, you're afraid for them, you're worried for them, and over the past two previous films, we've definitely grown attached to them, and we care about them. We don't want anything bad to happen to them, especially in this profession which they've chosen or been selected to take on. And that is fantastic. These two actors, they continue to play these characters extremely well. They're very likable, and I love how they have a family dynamic, and that's always been, to me, part of the Conjuring films. Which, before this film, I hadn't watched any of the actual Conjuring films except for the spin-off The Nun. But right beforehand, I decided I'm going to go back and watch the first two, which were enjoyable. And I like the mystery of this one too. I like the interconnected web there is. You're trying to figure out exactly what's going on. It's a mystery within a horror film. And the other actors and actresses in this film, they all carry their parts very well. They're very believable. And it's very different from the first two Conjuring films, because it's very clear that a different director did this one, which there was a new one for this film. But that also leads to where I think it's not the best of the franchise either. And that's because where the other two, and by the other two, I am focusing on the movies called The Conjuring. Those had a much different tone to them, a much different feel to them. They were about people being possessed and within one house, and we got to solve this mystery and take care of this single person, and it's not getting out. Here, it's about a person, but it's about what happens after they're possessed or while they're possessed. And it goes out to all these different places. And the reveals they show, it doesn't feel secluded, or it doesn't feel as personal at times than the first two did. And by my standards, I am not a horror fan. Like I've said in previous videos, I'm trying to get into horror so I at least have some experience with it, and maybe I can enjoy it. Those first two films, I definitely enjoyed. they weren't as scary as I was expecting them to be. But then again, that could have been the environment that I was in. But this one, I felt myself holding on to the edge of my seat for a lot of the film. Yes, there's a lot of jump scares, but I'm one of those people that jump scares get me. Yes, there were moments of laughter and relaxation in this film, but they were far and few between. I felt like I was constantly tense. I was constantly nervous. From the very first scene, I felt like I was tense through the entire film and could not relax. And for me, that's just not good filmmaking. You need to give the audience a chance to kind of take a breather, back away from what's going on, and then come back to it. You can't keep the audience at one specific level for an entire movie. Now, there are some movies that do kind of keep you at a certain level, but you don't really notice it as much because they do a really good job of sprinkling in humor, sprinkling in other aspects of at one point or another to help with it. The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, does not do that. It's one tone for most of the movie, and I feel like you just don't get a chance to relax and enjoy what's going on. The other thing about this film is the fact that if you want to believe that this stuff didn't actually happen, again, based on a true story, I'm not getting involved with that debate. The first two are easier to push to the side and believe, oh, these are just movies, they're just stories. They just have that feel to them that you can accept them just as movies and a story somebody wrote. This one is harder to do that with. I'm not going to get into specifics or get into any spoilers, but there's definitely things in this movie that make it a lot harder as an audience member to distance yourself from the actual events. And if that's what they were going for, and that's what the director was going for, then they did a really good job of it, because you felt like you were there constantly and you felt like you were in danger. For me, that can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, but only in certain doses. So as a whole, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, it's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. I'd put it right in the middle of the Conjuring series so far. Now, I want to make clear I haven't watched the Annabelle movies yet, so maybe they would place differently with this one. I just know overall I prefer those first two Conjuring movies to this one. So, what would I give this movie score-wise? I think I would give it a civilian, because there's definitely stuff to like about it. There's definitely good things about it. I feel like if you know nothing about the Conjuring universe, you could probably still come into this and it doesn't really matter, because you just wouldn't pick up on some of the Easter eggs for previous movies. You wouldn't be as connected with the characters as you would be otherwise. But as a fan, you can come in, know what's going on. You'll get a good time out of it. It just feels different than the first two. Just enough where I'm like, this is not exactly what I was expecting. This is not what I'm used to with this franchise. I like when franchises go a different way, if they pull it off well. And this is one that I'm like, you did an okay job, but I feel like I needed a little something else in it. But have you seen The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It? What did you think of it? Am I totally off base? Did you feel similar to what I'm thinking? Have you watched any of the Conjuring movies prior to this one? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as we say here, read what you love, enjoy what you love, and let's all work for a better fandom. I'll see you next time.